Hello, welcome to the program. I am your happy healer lover. It's great to have you here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We have a great program ahead of us, and there's a lot of things that we're going to do today. Today is Monday, August 9th, 2021, 7 p.m. sharp. I am your happy healer lover. This is AmericanMantics. Welcome to it. Yeah, so I'm Keith Landy, and you know me as your happy healer. And I'm not actually President Trump, for those of you who think I am. I supported him so that somebody can run after him to pave the way for a non-politician to run and win, and that supports God's plan, and Jesus is love, not using hate and bravado, but instead finding solutions built upon love and truth, the energies of God. That's what our entire community is about. That's what the group is here for, and all the pages that support AmericanMantics, to bring about God's people together, humble and loving, and most important of all, is capable of seeing that neither Trump nor the Democrats will bring us the unified America that we need to bring about the best version of America we all know we can have, and to survive and to win our battles against evil, specifically the one with our spiritual enemy, Satan. Some don't believe in God, and they only lust for Trump, and they're not putting higher living, God Almighty, and that higher plan, and what we already know Trump has to offer. And I talk about this stuff a lot, because whether or not these folks realize it or not, they prefer to fight right now. They hate Democrats and won't be told the way out of this mess is through logic, love, and taking care of humanity. These insane folks intend to cost us everything because they want to war with self, with Democrats, their own people. Everything the devil wanted, and for us to fight and die to oblivion with death struggle with self instead of doing God's plan. It's our job to lift up and help and show these folks that God's plan is worth believing in, that they can trust their happy healer to do all he can to bring that world about. Though we all must lend our powers to God's plan, not for selfishness or to have their hate pacified, but rather to get that hate out of their own heart and to realize that change looks just like that. It's what makes us stronger. I pray for hope and help all who wish to see better for themselves, their families, and happiness, to seize the truth that I talk about, God's loving plan, and helps us to avoid the confusion and the devil's plan, and that instead we can remind them of God's much better plan and still know to be true in their own heart, though lusting they do for what they don't belong doing. And that's when God's plan is lost. However, to realize that President Trump was only phase one in God's plan, and to get a normal person who is right for the job, and that next objective is to look for and find the person who does God's love and is running for president to help us all with what we really need. To not give in to the corruption like so many have done before him. That's why he needs to have been both rich and poor, to understand all the full perspectives of all those who are in this death spiral, so that we can come together and turn it around. I really hope you're really aware of that fact and confident enough to do the right answer for your life and for all of us. It inspires me to see folks so smart that are on cue, and God's always been focused on this change for us, this better world. That's how Trump got there to start with. God's people were flexible for the truth and change that will save our lives. Our need to do that only became greater, not to become inflexible now on our way to victory against Satan. After all, we have life to save. It's so important. And we're going to do that, folks. We're going to come together and continue as we do. So welcome to AmericanMantics. And I have a very special poem this evening that's on the program. And we'll be, I want to read it to you if you don't mind, because it's a very special poem. And this is by Joe Hollinger in our group. So this is a community show. People watch it in the public, but also it's our community that we're building, and we're lovers. We're going to talk about so many things this evening, as so long as we have the time to get through it. We're on for about an hour. And we're going to be talking about the AmericanMantics brands of passions that bring people together based on the passions, which passion is a derivative of love. And we're going to get into these more difficult to understand concepts, and bringing them together is what really is the important factor. The associations that we make that prove to us the truth that we're living is our truth. It's the right truth. So again, this is by Joe Hollinger. And the name is Light from the Blind. As a blind man sees, I know God's intention is to fully incarnate human soul. As a blind man sees, I know a heart-minded state of being will hold stay. As a blind man sees, I know God is morphing from a triplet to a quadruple in us. As a blind man sees, I know we have repressed the squaring of the circle too long. As a blind man sees, I know this ancient quantrinity has a name, Sophia. As a blind man sees, I know this binding tone of heartfelt devotion, maintaining the intention of creation. As a blind man sees, I know Christ's second coming is not individual, but a collective realization. Think about that. I love that poem. Thank you so much, Joe Hollinger, for that. That was so beautiful. And that's exactly what our community is about. And over this last weekend, we actually had a program where I came on live and spoke directly with one of our community members. And I want to continue having you folks on like that. I think that's so great for building the camaraderie in our community. So time now is 8 minutes after. We're moving right along. I'm so proud of everybody that is part of our community. And what I'd like to talk about next is that's right. Right. I think what we're going to talk about next is the AmericanMantics brands of passions. And what I want you to realize is how important these are, because they come together. So just kind of, if you want, take some notes, because these are pretty intricate. And this is just some of the organization that goes behind what I do. And I want you, therefore, to listen closely to what much of this means. And also, listen to the connections that are made in the process of getting to where we all belong to be. And so that's really important. And I think we'll all do just well on that. So today, if you were... now, for those of you who don't know, I have AmericanMantics as well, which is a branch off of FinanceMantics, which takes on Moderna Excels, takes on AMC, and all of the other stock interests that your HappyHealer has. I've been trying to tell my lovers for so long, look, just put aside anything. I'm just trying to help you make money. And these are the insights that I get, and I feel they're coming from God Almighty, so please try to listen. And I plead with folks because they could do very well. And today, I put the posting up for Moderna Excel so that you can make some money with me. Today, that stock ran $70 positive. And in fact, it's even higher than that, I believe now. $70 positive is a really good day for that, and I want you to be with me on these things. So please get on board. Don't allow little things to get in the way of all of our progress that makes it possible for us to go fast forward. Alright, so I'm going to play a little bit of music as we get into this next portion of the show. It's 10 minutes after, and I just want you to have that for some relaxation as we get in explaining some of this Landy Mantic stuff, because it really is so special. And so, yeah, I do want you to watch out for the many Landy Mantic brands of passions. I have a lot that we'll share, and it's beyond... You'll be updated from time to time on where to find other content that you may be interested in. Because, again, the way it's organized on my end is that it starts out through spiritual study and illusion, and it becomes your I become your happy healer. That's me. And it's who I became as I realized happy healing came out of me and provided me with a happier, better way of living that allowed me to go on after difficult life circumstances, including drug addiction and worse. I needed something worth living for. And happy healing is a complete guide to happy living on every imaginable level, including spiritually. It defines who we are and what our purpose is on this earth. Happy healing is a skill set and a knowledge base. Directly and indirectly, the many insights comes the Happy Healer organization, love, truth, and happiness, where AmericanMantics and the overall Landy Mantic brands of passions and the enterprise itself were conceived. This is also where happy healing was perfected itself in the inception of that journey, that I realized it was our unity and community that would make the difference from the very start. Everyone and every other name in some passions are part of our community, and that they're educated on AmericanMantics through that passion. It's where passions bind us. Passion itself is a derivative of love. After the organization itself is the next layer in which all other layers are beneath, and that is Landy Mantics, the brands of passions lineup. There are 30 brands of passion, all items I am passionate about and have knowledge about and intend to share in ways that bind our interests, and in separate subgroups where just those interests are pursued on that platform. Although there are 30 such platforms containing all their own separate passion brand that are composed under the overall Landy Mantic brands of passions enterprise. One interesting thing to note about all the Landy Mantic sub-Mantic brands of passions is their ability to not only succeed in their own chosen passion, but also that they work together in a unified goals. In some cases, multiple passion brands are behind building up other areas of the overall Happy Healer organization objectives. Of course, it's always about making life better for people. That's what our goal is. And not just having the solutions, but by putting them to use and putting them to power. And it's seeking power, which is behind the presidential run. Then comes AmericanMantics. It's your Happy Healers' combined efforts. All other efforts and all other Mantics are applied, combined, and compounded in empowerment of AmericanMantics to see to its complete and utter success. This is the also important mantics of God's plan and love and truth for America and humanity, as complex as the problem is intricate and increasingly effective. The mission is simply never-ending. Though the system is robust, powerful, effective, and capable. It's the Ways and Means Plan. America, the richest country on earth, destined by God Almighty to deliver the world over to abundance and unity and action, and compounding the powers of God's loving people who use God's powers of love and truth. AmericanMantics is a workable, living, breathing system based on the many experiences of study of happy healing designed to bring about the American superconsumer, eventually bringing humanity to a Type 1 civilization, fully integrated, making it a complete system designed for the intrepid progression of the American people in every aspect, bringing about the world of abundance, while also advancing the human race through higher living and advanced citizenship and community. AmericanMantics is also the system advocating by your happy healer for president and used for such purposes. It's a system that shows and gives value to the human experience, realizing our need to provide for people where needed. People were both relied upon and valued. The system enhances human value and quality of life in every respect, in the process of people living their lives for purpose and sacred value, ever outward, absent of Greedhell. And this is MediaMantics, which specializes in all things video and filmmaking, and social media and YouTube, and developing shows around all the other mantics, website maintenance and building, community mantics, passion around building community on all levels, community organizers, community justice issues. It's drone mantics. It's a special flying, filming, practicing, and building our efficiency, developing. Each talent plays a role in making the happy healer's efforts at bringing AmericanMantics to the people, and more empowered and more likely. These passions, forces begin to start adding up. Their power does as well. MindMantics is dedicated to the understanding of science and how our world comes together with the forces to govern matter, life, and energy. This is shared from various perspectives, and cross-knowledge helps build a brighter, more concrete picture of what AmericanMantics looks like, what happy healing is, the complete guide to happy living. MoneyMantics, or at least it will end up being a subset of MoneyMantics, also Moderna excels, and everything's part of the brands of passions and branching out to other stocks as well. Nonetheless, you can go to Moderna excels on YouTube, and that will likely not change. So feel free to go there and to subscribe on that stock interest if the MoneyMantics brands interests you. Likely, once the MoneyMantics channel and brand is set up, the content will be fed to both channels. That is how our subset channels are handled in most cases in the organization. AnimalMantics. This is sharing any animal encounters, love for animals, shared around love and passion for animals. Dogs, and what we can learn from dogs, compassion and hope, and other domesticated animals, wild animals, such as what African animals teach us about the nature of life, what Darwinism learned about that, and the lessons that we learned from the animal planet. BodyMantics. Also, I studied nutrition, was hired as a personal trainer during that time in my life, but I declined that decision, as my personal business was extremely busy and I was needed there. This was all before I made the Mantics program, but I still possessed the skills of body Mantics, business Mantics, dance Mantics, film Mantics, and this helped build the films and the knowledge of the overall landing Mantics brands of passions, including AmericanMantics. Works together with media Mantics and marketing Mantics to further compound these abilities. Kids Mantics, the children in our families' interests, etc., and what's important to their development and growth. What things help them meet their needs. Dealing with child depression, suicide, and disease. All kinds of things to regular interest in sharing common interests with the children in our own families. This is more of a community-based interest as well. The people Mantics, dealing with all issues with people, communications and speaking, understanding people to the core, knowing that people matters so much is what people Mantics is all about. There's also covers the history of mankind itself and our path in society, cultures, etc. It's pretty much everything to do with the complex nature of people. Mandela Mantics, around the belief that we may be a very special force that we don't understand working in our lives. We do. It's called God. And in fact, all we know are forces are computed in our minds. Everything beyond the ordinary. Supernatural events and happenings. Everything beyond Earth's dimensional Mantics, and that's Mandela Mantics. Marijuana Mantics is a passion I use daily under medical supervision and for medical needs. I back this plan and believe that it's very magical properties that can help us become closer to our whole life self and our spiritual selves as well. It assists in understanding God's world, in my view, and becoming nostalgic about our past, though a prudent mind could do the same. Facts speak loud, and that's what everything in this entire organization propels. It all builds on the facts that we can count on, the very truth. God has two things, love and truth. That guides everything. A golden rule that must never be broken. That is a golden rule to follow. Because be loving and be honest, folks. Marketing Mantics helps design ways and means to maximize exposure of the various brands of passions on upward to AmericanMantics, HappyHealer organization, and Landing Mantics, the brands of passion. And then we have Material Mantics, the building up of all things material, understanding materials and earth sciences and the elements, and whether all things that are material are all things. I enjoy sharing so much in building projects and learning to take on new projects myself. Building out my new Happy Force 1 coach. I am in Mini Force 1. I also built that one out. Energy Mantics. All things energy, including spiritual and the electric universe. Fire. All material is, of course, material energy, though not all energy is material. Electrical world. Electromagnetic fields. Understanding the relationship between the physical world and its electromagnetic field as a force, gravity, and all these forces, including the study of all the forces in this life. Every imaginable force that can have an influence on the outcome of any action. As all action takes force, though not all conscious acts are a forceful decision, though all forceful decisions are not conscious acts either. A conscious thought is an activity, of course, and energy, though not always acted upon. And so we have space mantics, earth mantics, the movements of the elements on Earth, wing mantics, all things piloting of aircrafts, aircraft maintenance, stories and tragedies to learn from, journey mantics, everything encompassed in our living journey. The journey of life itself is literally one journey at a time. And all journeys and all stories and lessons of those journeys is what this mantics is about. All things traveling. Life is a journey. Experience is valued. Our experience is matter. Our shared experiences, our stories must be remembered and told. Experiences give us insight. Desires are our dream. But technically, dreams are also an experience. We share a community of intrepid journey seekers, discussing and planning them too. We never let a journey die. The journey shall always go on. Art mantics, all things artsy and fashionable, acting, creative and imaginative, writing books, and drawing. My brother was a great artist. Structural mantics, the study around organizing and planning systems, time management, developmental skills. So true. And I think that you have to help build those particular skills up in order to have a strong and fruitful life. Folks, this is just an introduction into the organizational appreciation of what Landy Mantics is and has become, and all of its sub-mantics brands of passions, and including the overarching brand of passion that stands above all others at this point is AmericanMantics, as that is the passion brand that will bring about God's world on this earth. Love and truth. In heaven as on earth as it is in heaven. And God is what we count on. Faith, love, appreciation of one another. Realizing that each and every one of us are a gift from our almighty creator and almighty lover to one another from him. So we should appreciate one another, recognize the gift that we are to each other, and have a better world for it. And, well, folks, I started out by talking a little bit about President Trump and our need to be flexible for God Almighty. We talked about the poem from our good friend Joe Hollander. Thank you so much for that. So special. And his wonderful wife Diane. I know you're watching. I love you both. You're great in the community. And our community is growing so strong. I'm so proud of everybody in the community for helping build that wonderful camaraderie. It's so special. We're all brothers and sisters, and most important, we're all lovers of one another. We care. That is our mantra. We care. It's our mantra, which is our mantics. You may as well call it care mantics. Much, much to be deserved to each and every one of you who have worked so hard to build such a wonderful community and will continue building our wonderful community, allowing AmericanMantics to guide our way and learning as we go, never settling for good enough, but going the extra mile and realizing that puts us miles ahead of our problems, the devil, Greedhell, making AmericanMantics that much closer to a reality for people that need it and have very little value in their lives right now in Greedhell, but yet have so much hope. It's our jobs to bring about that hope. And so we talk about President Trump, and I just want to say, in the onset of having mentioned President Trump on the program quite a bit today, I want to say that it's important that we recognize the contributions President Trump has had to the overall AmericanMantics plan that he helped organize not organize so much, but open the door to a non-politician who can be taken seriously by God's people and show the way forward and taken seriously by all people. Remember, AmericanMantics is brilliant in bringing the left and the right together. I'm proud of saying that in my last campaign for president, our supporters were split right down the middle, but yet together united. It was so special and is so special, and that is the power of AmericanMantics to bring people together. That's because we realize that people have purpose and value. We realize the goals that each side is out to achieve, and then party masters take over and they puppet master their way to their own corruption, taking care of themselves rather than what you're out for. In the meantime, they call blame and they make fights. They do whatever they can to take the attention off of their own corruption. And in the end, we lose. We always lose when we're at each other's throats. That's what Jesus taught us, is to turn the other cheek. So President Trump must be appreciated for his opening that door, that all so important door. And I'll never forget that. It's just something that none of us should ever forget. And if we do, we're playing the facts of the matter short, because President Trump was a part of that. That's right. We have to appreciate Trump for opening the way, for paving the way forward for another human being that puts God's plan first. That's obviously not Trump, however, because he uses hate to great effect. He is not God's lover, the one who uses Jesus' way, who knows how to win just as hard and harder than Trump ever did, but with love, not hate. So, you're on the right track, my friends. Trump opened the American psyche to accept something other than a typical politician. Now God's plan is open, and I'm doing my best to push that agenda forward. I hope you help. We need your help. Yet so many think they got God locked into the catalyst rather than God was trying to push forward love. They have been swallowed by the devil. Now, all they know how to do is lust over Trump. They lost their ability to think logically in the things I'm saying. They hate me for, not you. We're bringing many people back to the way of God. I hope you are understanding that. God bless you, and let's take our country for God's plan and make it a safe, fun, and happy place to be. God bless you. Good is what we are after. It's time to be our best and to prepare for that project forward. God's plan moving forward. That anything less will mean certain destruction for us all. When we show the many mantics ways that greed kills, it becomes clear. Whether humanity suffers in accidents or more in depressed human hell, the devil's plan of Greedhell is having great effect on human suffering. Though we know that can't last forever. It never does. It didn't last when in history, the last time we failed to advance and become better, that instead we were taken by barbarians. And that would be when the Dark Ages took the victory from us. That must not happen again. And I sure know we're well on our way with AmericanMantics. That's why I live for nothing other than being the solution we all need, because it's a natural transition for me that started with my searching for that person and not finding him or her, but realizing we needed it more than anything else so that we aren't to perish, so that we can persist and that love that we so talk about wins, and that we can make it to a type of civilization and empowered to live better lives more than any other time in history. To make it to a type 1 civilization. It's up to you. Do you have the courage? Do you have the faith? Do you have the knowledge? That's what AmericanMantics is about. Do you love God and His plan enough to help enough to receive the answers to assist us all in getting to that better world? It's time we get this right. That's why your Happy Healer is making no qualms about what happens next. For now, we continue to break out this story. The information that helps you see what I see. It helps you understand my heart and the problem of my heart's frustration. It's the answer for us all and our families. Come with me on this journey, and together, with open arms of love and the calm and steady thinking of our courageous minds, we'll find the answer sufficient where greed has failed many times before. Let's not make the mistake of handing the reins to Greedhell ever again. It's so important, and I'm always here for you. That'll never change. I love you forever and only seek to make you proud. We together can do this. That would sure be a lot better than what we have. In the meantime, I am so focused on the answer that will save our lives. Kind of like a good final solution. God's final solution, as told by Jesus. Love and trust shall prevail for a life worth living here in this life, on earth as it is in heaven. That is what it screams to me. That surrender yourself to Jesus is so clearly telling us not to go our own greedy path, allowing our lives to be guided by Jesus, and that the truth shall set us free. That love and turning the other cheek and being humble is required from a strong father in a time of an emergency, to stay level-headed and to keep his family safe. No difference is required in our current times, folks. We know how bad things have become. We must love daily, hard. I'm really grateful that so many people can see that as being true. The honest broker of truth within all of us knows the real truth. That honest broker keeps us honest with ourselves. I always talk to that honest broker. I have a right to speak to you or anyone within their own souls and directly to the honest broker of truth within themselves for two overarching reasons. One, because that is where I am also speaking to you from. That honest place that seeks to be pure and act out of genuine love to approach our problems, knowing the sacred value each one of us and our human family possess. And two, because I started out loving you, there was never a clause that said, if you do or say this first, then I'll love you. No, Jesus teaches that. And the answer is also found there. Funny enough, it requires a solution that will be found, and it will be handing the devil a victory and knowing why and how important it is to do just work that supports our happy, hopeful, and healthy lives is as simple as trusting in Christ's powers, knowing that the way forward is with love and the truth, nothing less. Since I have realized that so long ago, I have yielded from an honest conversation where I was willing to change instantly if I was wrong, if it makes sense to me that I was wrong, that I was honest with myself. I wouldn't seek to find out and prove how I was right and argue a moot point. When the world teaches us to always react just as countless others do in doing that, but to just instead simply do what was right and not argue that moot point, but to be my very best with the truth and have the highest integrity for that truth. After a decade of meditating on this truth and pursuing an honest way forward, I have developed a working plan built on honest truth that actually works. God's way is the way and answer for all of humanity's problems. It's concrete. It's teachable. It's practical. It's better. The only thing holding us back is greed and fear. Think about that. Greed and fear is holding us back from our happy, lasting lives on earth, being our very best, living the compassionate hope that we were given in this life in the first place. Time now is 7:40, 20 minutes till. So we're doing good, and what I would like to do now is I want to share with you a very important video, and it's listed on the community page, and it says, watch this important video. If you haven't had a chance, that's okay, because I'm going to play it here. It's that important. Listen to the message. This binds our people. This shows the love that we have for one another. And I have so much video and media from AmericanMantics that'll be coming to AmericanMantics to show you these truths. There's so many of them. On the campaign trail, I met so many wonderful people, had wonderful conversations, and not everything, but a lot is recorded, and I intend to bring it to you here on AmericanMantics throughout these coming months and years. So that's very important to me. And given that this video explains so much of that truth, and that many of you may not have had a chance to see it, and that it coincides with much of what we have been talking about this evening, I would like to show you that video now without delay. So here it is.
Do you see that guy right there? That's me, your HappyHealer lover. I have been a Trump supporter since the very beginning. I've convinced my family, my friends, and everybody I know that the right thing to do was to go with President Trump, because that's what offered us a future where somebody who was willing to put the effort in to bring God's world in, to me, seemed more likely. And as your HappyHealer lover, I must think logically, because people are dying on the street, depression and wretched misery, dying and becoming homeless, drug addiction, sadness, broken families, and divorce. It's all coming out of Greedhell, and it's all coming because of lies that the people who are doing the suffering never orchestrated. They were about building America up, and they paid the ultimate price. God's plan allowed for President Trump to get into office to pave the way for a lover who knows your value. God is all about love and truth. And I would like to share with you the time that when I went to go see my friends, many Trump supporters, during the Trump announcement for president, right here in Orlando, Florida, and I spoke to you, and you responded. You welcomed the message then. This is in our hearts now. We have always known it to be the truth, and up next is that inspiration for you to take in. This is God's plan. This is hope for you and your family for a better world, that we don't have to go the way of like what my sister fears for her children, and indeed for all of our children. And this is God's plan. And why is it God's plan? Because you matter.
Hello, hello. How many people here for the HappyHealer? Anybody? The worst aspects of the human spirit. How are you, sir? God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. They say that everything's great. And the people who like the system now, they're scared too. They're suffering. They see everyone else suffering even worse, and they step back. They say, oh, I'm lucky. They really want a dream.
Hey, go, brother. Good.
Who do you support for president? You're here for Trump. Because here's my goal. My goal is to turn Trump people. Well, I'm a lot younger. I'm 40. But here's the goal.
What's your name?
I'm Keith Landy. I'm running on the Democratic side for the Keith Landy. And the best way to find me, folks, is HappyHealerForPresident.com. HappyHealer for President. This country needs a HappyHealer. That's why you're HappyHealer. That is to say, me, Keith Landy, is running for president. Because we have serious times and we need serious people to solve those serious issues. And what we have right now are people who are focused on their own greedy agenda, their own political agenda, their own ideas, with a tight lip and no open ears and no open mind and no love. Where is the capacity to have love gone? We're the 25% of the global economy, yet 5% of the world's population. You better believe the American spirit has ingenuity. You better believe the American story is one of an exceptional one. But yet, look where the American stands today. And yes, I've seen him. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the drug addiction and the drug epidemic in this country, too. It's not funny how they turn the world upside down on us. Well, in this campaign, we're going to right upside that world, and we're going to write up the rightful dream to the American people that provides the health care for the people that they need, that provides an income for all, $5,000 for a family of four, that provides the essence of life and the appreciation of life, one that says to take humanity first, you have to have common sense humanity policies. You can't just say what's right for the Democrats or what's right for the Republicans. You got to have an agenda that's for humanity. And humanity in America, we matter. We matter. They're trying to tell us we don't matter, or they're trying to tell us that their agenda is more important, that they're trying to confuse us, but we matter. Don't let them tell you no different. We matter. You matter, I matter, we all matter. That indeed is why I call myself the Happy Healer, because we have so much hate in this country, because we have to spend this time spreading love and talking about the truth that other people are not willing to talk about. They have no courage, folks. These are truths that you likely never heard before.
That is fantabulous. Thank you for watching that. The time now is 7:46 and we're getting closer to the end of the program. Things have been moving great and you are great always. And I realize that I could be out there just like so many other people, expressing anger, showing frustration, because we're all frustrated about something, and pointing at somebody else that they're to blame for all of that frustration and to take it out on them. That's so popular these days. Doing that may make you a star, and people get carried away with it, and they continue to just cause so much pain, and the damage they do in their own attempt to raise their status is something I'm not willing to do. And so instead we don't grow as fast. So those of us who are part of this message and understand its importance, if it's not you who's sharing and liking and pushing the message forward, listening, hearing, God, I love you, I hear you, and pushing that message forward and helping, like I know many of you do, then it's not happening. I know that many of you are doing that, but quite frankly, many is not enough. We need a lot more. We're trying to achieve something so special here. It's only going to translate if we're successful. That's what all of the AmericanMantics brands of passions are geared towards, that endeavor. That's why I shared with you all just a glimpse, really, but still it's a pretty big glimpse of what work I've been through, making AmericanMantics the special, knowledgeable thing that it is today. It's a breathing, living thing, because it helps us understand what's most important. Even for those who have lost their way, it spells it out and helps them find their way. That's what we often miss, is clarity in Greedhell. People are so short, and they're so often misleading in their approach. They don't admit when they're wrong, and often they double down, which is why we bring the truth about people like Meet Kevin Paffrath from California, who wants to be governor, and bring in casinos, which obviously cause hardship and distress for people who are depressed, who need to check out. I've done that before at casinos myself. I've lost a great deal of money at casinos by checking out, getting rid of the pain by gambling. I know what that's like, and here Kevin Paffrath wants to place those in California while he continues to build his portfolio wealth. He's already worth over $20 million. It's easy for somebody with that kind of money to continue to build on that wealth while telling everybody else, I'm self-made, even though he's got a trail of dead bodies. And that's exactly how Greedhell is, because for every winner, there's always a loser on the other side. That's how it works. It doesn't need to be that way because we could be focused on growth and building. But often we hurt each other. That's what hedge funds do. They destroy family investments for so many people. And if I were ever to make it and ascend to that special position, I know that I'm no greater or better than anybody else. The fact is, we all matter and have purpose. That's what I preach about. That's what I will not budge about. That's what I've been saying for the last 3.5 to 4 years online, doing these kinds of programs so steady. It doesn't matter if one person is watching or if 1,000 people are watching. You won't notice much of a difference from me because I am steadily focused on that value. You, your purpose, your reason for living, your destination, where we're all headed together to help you in your endeavors. Think about how special of a world we can have if we all think in such ways. And that's what AmericanMantics is about, building on that unity, building on that truth. If we continue to accept people going in their awful ways, like Meet Kevin, and parading them up as valued success, and forgetting about the people who lost while he built his wealth up, it's sad. He's not particularly smart. He's a good fake. If you watch his earlier videos, which he doesn't actually delete, and why do you think he doesn't do that? Because he likes the money they bring in. But it shows just how big of a clown he has been and how he does things. And then he gets lucky and he ascends. And during COVID, that was his lucky time. There's a lot of devils who did well on COVID. Isn't that true? Look at how many companies who will tell you you have to go out and earn your living, while think about the very nature of that in the year 2021. In my view, your living is earned already. You have purpose and value. We need to appreciate that. That's what we need to do. We need to appreciate you, not look at you and tell you to earn your self-living. You are alive. Your freedom is already there. But the very language is designed to convince you that your job is to be a slave in replacement for money. And that's what these rich folks are talking about today. How you need to get back in line and go to work. You need to get back to your selfless job while they go do their selfish deeds. It's not right. That's how Greedhell does things. In fact, if we need workers to do that, of course, people are so amazing. They'll do what they need to do to be successful. And that's what our commitment must be. But also to build that better world, to make their lives easier, to build a world of abundance, and to get on that tough work fast.